We've all heard the stories. I once caught a fish this big.
Bam! Yeah!
But what's the story behind all of those tales? What drives people to our oceans, lakes, and streams? Is it to connect with nature? Is it to live out one of man's oldest occupations?
All right, got it. Wow! There you go. That's Florida.
Or is it a chance to heal the soul with a time-honored family tradition?
Oh, bam! Yeah! Big fish! Yeah, baby! Bam! Oh.
In fishing, there's the hunt.
Yeah! There you go. Bam, bam, bam!
There's the challenge every time you hit the water.
Got it, coach.
There's the camaraderie.
You want to put like a 10 push-up wager?
Yeah, let's do that.
And then there's the stories. It's not just fishing. It's a fishing story.
Nice! Yeah, baby! Bam!
A Fishing Story is presented by Pasco County, Florida. Open spaces, vibrant places. Today on A Fishing Story, Ronnie will be joined by a true fishing legacy, Brandon McMillan, son of 2009 FLW Angler of the Year, Jimmy McMillan. Ronnie and Brandon will be trolling the McMillan clan backyard, Lake Okeechobee.
They're already spawning in Florida.
Today on A Fishing Story, I have the privilege of fishing on one of Florida's greatest lakes with a member of the legendary McMillan clan, Brandon McMillan.
Brandon McMillan.
What's going on? How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm so excited
Me
to
too.
be able to fish the top lake in the country, fishing with a local legend. You guys got a family legacy of legends, man. What are we doing today?
We're gonna do a little flipping and pitching. You know, fish some grass, maybe swing some jigs and stuff like that. It's gonna be exciting, be good.
Oh, man, I can't wait. Well, let's go get them.
All right.
Generations have fished the shores, coves, and shallows of Florida's largest freshwater lake. And as a winner of the 2011 FLW Tour Open on Lake O, hopefully Brandon will share some of his knowledge of flipping techniques that have made him so successful.
So what are we doing, Brandon?
Well, we're you know, come here to flip. Got a lot of good blown in stuff. There's some hyacinths there, some cabbage, and good hydrilla. And yeah, it's just been a pretty good area.
People don't understand what this cabbage thing. I talk about it all the time. Explain what the cabbage.
Well, it's the green stuff that grows, and basically what it does is that it just creates shade. You know, it's like a canopy, and the fish get underneath there to stay warm in the winter,
Sure.
a little cooler in the summer, and they just feel comfortable there.
This is beautiful water too. It seems to be pretty clear, Brandon.
It is. That's one of the key things for Okeechobee is you have to find that clear water.
Yeah.
A lot of it stays dirty for a good part of the year, but that's the key for here is you definitely got to find that good clean water where they can get in there, and they don't much like the dirty stuff. Bottom content is pretty key in this stuff too. I think that you know, because Okeechobee is such a shallow lake with a bad bottom content, it just gets down there and it gets in their gills and they don't really like it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Brandon McMillan. Brandon Beast McMillan.
Little guy.
Oh my goodness, Brandon. Hello. You are incredibly funny, dude. You just like, hey man, watch this, Ronnie. Look, no hands.
No hands.
Oh, that was so sweet. Flip. I love it. If you're a flipper, make sure you don't go away because we got Brandon McMillan and he's gonna show us a lot about flipping.
When we return, Ronnie will get to the heart of the McMillan passion for fishing that has transcended generations.
There's been a McMillan on this lake for years and years and years, it seems like.
A Fishing Story is brought to you by Abu Garcia for life. Mercury Marine, #1 on the water. Power pole, swift, silent, secure. Bass Addiction flat out tungstens, no equal.
That's a good one too.
Yeah.
Nice. Get him in here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Come here, girl.
Beautiful.
Nice.
So I was flipping, and I had too light of a weight on, and I consulted the expert, Brandon McMillan, of course, and he told me just kind of make it a little bit heavy, just enough to get through that green stuff. And sure enough, look what happens. Only on a fishing story, baby. Get you some. Brandon, it's early fall, man. Can you believe this?
Yeah, this is the early stages of them coming in, you know.
Wow.
Starting to set up. We talked about the holes in the hydrill a little bit ago.
Yeah.
That's probably what they're doing, you know.
They're already spawning in Florida.
Sure.
And in most places, it's usually around March, April, May sometimes.
You know.
Wow. And here it is, late fall, and they're already here.
Sure. And that fish is probably a year, 2 years old at the most, and it's already starting to spawn. I mean, you know, it's just why we have such a healthy population of fish nowadays.
So, Brandon, does your whole family fish? Or better yet, tell me about your family, brothers or sisters?
I've got a brother and a sister on my mom's side. You know, my parents were divorced.
Sure, sure.
And I've got 2 brothers on my dad's side that are fishing fools. That's all that they pretty much live for. Jared and Dylan, they fish just about every weekend out here.
They're beasts. I
Sure.
fished against them.
Well. You're getting a little bit of a break from Dylan. He's done.
Okay.
He's a freshman in college now at FAU. So,
Awesome.
but yeah, I mean, my brother Jared, he's gonna eventually fish the tour with us.
Awesome.
And he's just now 20, so he's got plenty of time to learn a little bit and stuff. Learn the business end.
Sure.
Fishing end comes, you know, but the business end's kind of the tricky part, as we all know.
Now, where did your dad learn his fishing prowess from?
My great-grandfather was a cat fisherman out here on Okeechobee. And my 2 great uncles, they fished tournaments. I mean, they started it. I mean, they started the whole tournament scene for the McMillans years ago, 40, 50 years ago. Dad kind of got into it, and they started taking him when he was a boy, and just kind of grew from there.
And anybody that fishes professionally knows if you go into Lake Okeechobee, there's 2 families you can think of, and one of which is the McMillan family.
And that's something that we're proud of. I mean, we all, you know, it's kind of like when like this year, I was fortunate enough to make the Forest Wood Cup and the Bassmasters Classic in the same year, and it's kind of a nice family reunion because everybody shows up. And
Absolutely.
It's you know, it beats having a picnic. You know, for me, because if I'm making those, I'm usually fishing pretty good. So it beats going somewhere and wading a trout stream somewhere and having a picnic for a week. So I like it.
You are a clown, man. Well, you know, it probably started off, you know, your dad was such a legend that can be a lot of pressure.
Sure.
But the good thing is, Brandon, you earned your own way. I mean, you've earned it, and then every single one of your cousins, your brothers, and everybody's earned their own way, man, and that says a lot about the McMillan family.
We've been fortunate as a family and stuff, and that's kind of how I got into flipping, because my dad wasn't a flipper. He was more of a winder. He liked to, you know, honestly, he was more of a crankbait guy.
No way.
There was always a crankbait tied on in the box, and he generally would catch one at some point during the day, whether it was cranking a little point in the ditch or cranking down a boat trail that we have in front of us.
You're kidding me.
When he won Angler of the Year in the FLW Tour.
Yep.
And just about everyone he caught him on a crankbait. Except for Okeechobee. I don't think he caught many on a crankbait.
Sure.
Oh, there we go.
Yes, sir. It's a good one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. There we go.
Right on time.
Yep, clean. I mean, white, not very big, but
Right in during your time between this and this. He called it.
Up next, we'll explore the tragedy that rocked the McMillan family and the fishing world to its core.
I can remember it like it was yesterday. Unfortunately, everything stopped.
A Fishing Story is brought to you by Gary Yamamoto Custom Baits, because what you fish matters. Bass Pro Shops, your adventure starts here. We Go, traditional jumping takes a thumping.
Hi, I'm Corporal Clark Reese with the Pasco Sheriff's Office Marine Unit. I'm here to give you some good boating safety tips for a safe day on the water. It's a good idea that when you're out on the water that you have good communication. You don't want to rely on your cell phone. You want to make sure that you have a VHF radio, whether it be a handheld or a hard-mounted unit. Your life may depend on it.
Tell me about some of your vivid memories of fishing as a youngster. When did you start fishing?
I mean, I fished ever since I can remember. My earliest memories were bass fishing with my dad. He was back in the late 80s. He was really into tournament fishing. Yeah, he fished a couple Bassmaster events, but it's the equivalent of what the elites are now. Yeah. And then we fished every local tournament, every team tournament, and when his partner couldn't go, he would drag me out there. And one of my most vivid memories and stuff, and I've said this a few times, 25 years ago, there was like a 15 fish limit on the lake. So you could keep like seven or 8 bass a piece, but you had to have 2 people in the boat.
Wow.
So he needed just a living, breathing body in the boat so that he could weigh in the full limit. So I would go out, and I remember going out, and it was cold. I mean, bitter cold for a Florida day, and I sat in a sleeping bag in the passenger seat the whole time. We got second. I never made a cast. I never got any money out of it either. But he just needed a warm body in the seat just so he could keep my limit. And,
that's so awesome.
But we went every weekend. We'd go down to Chokoloskee, Everglade City, and we did a lot of saltwater fishing. And then I kind of got where I wanted to kind of bass, team fish, tournament fish, get back into the lake. So when I did that, he kind of got more involved with it, and he bought a new boat, and it just kind of, it kind of trickled down to, it hasn't been that long, maybe 10 or 12 years. I mean, right as we start, we met Carmen, and he's become family. Our deal really on the lake, per se, is only, relatively, 10, 12 years long now. And, but it's been exciting. I mean, it's been a neat ride, just to get back in it. And we fished a lot together, him and I did. And, there's no better bonding way than 2 guys or a father-son to go out for the day.
You better believe it. Woo! Good bad?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Golly. You'll find them if they're in here. They're all so pretty. They're all fun to catch.
They are.
Wow.
Some color to her there.
Carmen, I'm so excited to have you on the show, man. And thanks again for
Glad to be here.
coming to talk to us, man. And exciting to know the relationship with you and Jimmy. You knew him as a fisherman, as most of us did.
Right, but he was a lot more than that. Yeah, he had a great sense of humor, great family man too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was proud of his accomplishments, but I tell you what, he was more proud of his kids, how well Brandon did, and especially the boys growing up too. Jared and Dylan both, started fishing a lot, and that made him, I think, more happy than anything, to see them do well.
So you almost became like a semi-uncle, adopted uncle kind of thing,
I like to joke that I'm part McMillan just by hanging around. Yeah, Jimmy'd go on vacation. A lot of times I'd stay at the house and watch the boys because they were younger. So I'd hang out there, and I got to see them grow up. They were little kids, and now they're grown men.
That's amazing how you can see all of those things.
Yeah, I look back at some of the pictures. Jared was helping me out hold up some fish, and I can't ever, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but he was really little, and now he's, like I said, he's almost a spitting image of his dad, too.
Well, that goes back to how he transitioned, which is something most people don't like to talk about because he's such a legend around here.
Yeah.
Take me through the day you heard of what happened with him.
I can remember it like it was yesterday, unfortunately. I was headed up onto the lake because it was our time of the year this time, it was early January, actually January 2nd. And we had the big tournament coming up. We were both in it. The phone rang and it was about 6:30. And I saw, oh, it's Brandon. Hey, man, what are you doing? He says, hey, listen. Dad just got shot. And I mean, everything stopped.
No one knew what was happening. We just knew that Dad had been shot. Naturally, it was brutal, you know.
Absolutely.
And probably it was tough because you didn't know what was happening. There was a lot of anger. I mean, you know, frustration, uncertainty. You know what I mean? Stuff like this. But man, looking back on it, Dad had always he always wanted to not necessarily take people fishing. He wanted to get people involved in fishing. You know, and there was one guy. His name was Ronnie, good friend of mine, firefighter in Belglade. And he was the first one through the door.
Wow.
So, you know, so you know that was a little tough for everybody.
Absolutely.
That New Year's Day was the last time I saw him alive. We fished, we ate breakfast at Roland's, we fished from daylight to dark, and we mashed them. I've always felt fortunate to have that, you know, that last 10 hours, 11 hours, whatever it was with him, because it was us at our, you know, kind of our truest deal, you know what I mean?
Well, when they had the viewing and the funeral, I'd never seen so many people in one place because they, you know, knew how good this guy was in the community. They had heard stories about how he fed the community, you know, he was friends. He grew up his whole life he spent there, and that's why they found the guy so quick too, because of that. You know, he was so well loved, you know. That I think shows how you lived your life. When they say, you know, it's not what you're like when you're around, it's when you're gone. People still care, you know.
Coming up, we'll learn more about the future of the McMillan clan.
Well, I think he'd be proud of us for what we've done on the water, you know, for sure. You know, but that's the small part of it. I think he'd be most proud of you know, the way that we're growing up.
You know, I get a lot of questions about what is the red tape that you have on your reels and why do you do that? This reel goes at 32 inches per turn and this one is at 29. And so you want to be able to differentiate just by adding a little piece of tape it around, lay it on the ground. It's a fast moving day and you don't want to miss a bite if you see some schooling fish and whatnot. So that's how you make yourself more efficient on the water. Is he in there?
Yeah, he's underneath the mat.
Is he seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, bad. That was textbook, dude.
Look how dark he is.
He is a resident, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, the more color they have, the darker that they get. It seems like the longer that they've lived underneath that mat. You know,
wow.
the real white resident fish are the ones that are moving in. But these here that are just jet black, I mean, they're the ones that have been there for several days, you know, for sure.
That's awesome. That's beautiful fish. Man, they're beautiful. In Florida, baby. Flipping with Brandon. I firmly believe, regardless of how a person transitioned, it was their appointment date. And we all have an appointment that we have to deal with, and you never really can get over it. You just find a way to manage it.
Sure, yeah, no doubt.
And as we sit here and talk of Jimmy McMillan, the man, the fisherman, but also the father, what would he say about his boys right now?
Well, I think he'd be proud of us for what we've done on the water, you know, for sure. You know, but that's a small part of it. You know what I mean? I mean, I think, you know, I think he'd be most proud of you know, the way that we're growing up. I mean, my brothers are kind of at that age now where, you know what I mean, where they could go either way, but the way that they're leaning towards is the right direction. It's a positive direction.
Absolutely.
You know. I mean, Lord knows when I was 18, 19 years old, I wasn't perfect. You know what I mean?
We all
with or without fishing in the picture. You know what I'm saying? So it's
that's part of growing up.
Yeah, it's part of growing up too. You know. But I think all in all, I mean, you know, I know we'd be proud of you know, of the way that we've turned out. You know, and there's a lot more to come. I mean, you know, my brother Jared is probably the best fisherman on the lake. Wow. And I just, it's not going to be long before you see him fishing against us on tour.
Wow.
and moving forward. All in all, I mean, you know, off the water stuff, I think he would be extremely happy with us, and then, you know, what we've been able to accomplish with a rod and reel since he's been gone has been pretty special.
Well, I can say this, speaking from an audience perspective, that we are so proud to be able to know the McMillan family and you to share all of these great stories with us about not just your father, but the legacy of the McMillan family. So they're good people, and so you can only track that to their parents, mom and dad. So I'm certain he would be proud, because we all are.
Well, thank you. That means a lot to us, for sure.
And thank you so much for being on our show today. Brandon, it's been a pleasure. I didn't realize I would have to have a notepad. I bought a rod and reel. I mean, you're a beast, man, and it's no joke. It's not just throwing around a bait, but you're an even better person. And I like getting to know you, man. But again, thank you so much,
Yes, sir.
Brandon.
Thank you for having us.
I
It's been
really
a pleasure.
appreciate it, man.
Yes, sir.
And we'll see you next time on A Fishing Story.
Hey, to find out more about the show, check out afishingstory.com. There you'll find out about our guests, our fans, and myself, Ronnie Green. And there's also a contact page because we'd love to hear from you. So check out afishingstory.com.